Hey guys, welcome back to the Homestead. My name is Paul. This is part 2 of an update that we're doing. So this is the market garden, and this particular row right here is the kids row. So I'm just going to go through and kind of point out what's still here, what was here. When we came out this morning, the idea was to kind of clean this up, get rid of a lot of the dead debris and take it over into the composting area and harvest. There's still quite a bit of pumpkins out here that were still a little bit green the last couple days, but now they've firmed up and they're orange. So the idea was to harvest what was in here, come through and take some of the sunflowers out, and then clean the weeds out and clean the dead vines out and any of the dead plants. A lot of the stuff like the cucumbers, the melons, squash, a lot of that stuff, if it hasn't already produced, it's not going to at this point anymore, and it's just past its cycle. This is Caspian's area. These are peanuts, Tennessee peanuts that we got from Baker Creek, and they've grown out real well. Let me just show you these. These are pretty neat the way they grow. They send out these little runners, and then there's a peanut right down in there, or a rock. You see them right there? As you pull them up, they're not quite ready to harvest, but I just wanted to show you guys some. There's some of the peanuts. We planted 2 more, but those ones actually got overtaken by the squash. You can still see the remnants of the field squash or the pumpkin. The variety is Connecticut, and we did a video, you can watch that video right here, of the first pumpkin harvest of the season. So we planted those kind of early, planted those the 2nd week of June. I think that was good timing, actually. I think I'll do that again next year. Now, on a lot of these things, we plan to put them in different locations than we did this year. Pumpkins or whatever you've planted requires a certain amount of nutrients, and they deplete that. They also attract a certain pest, and that pest, if they did come in looking for that particular plant, they'll be sitting there next year. That cycle will come through. A lot of the issues we have are with the different types of beetles that are specific to different varieties of plants. Like you have a squash bug, and what they'll do is they'll lay eggs, and then the next year they'll come up even stronger. But if they come up and they're sitting in a patch of, say, potatoes, and it's not something that they eat, then they'll die off. There was 3 pumpkins here, and you can still see them out here. They actually spread out. So from this point to the fence there is about 10 feet. And these guys went out in some directions. They went out 15 or 20 feet. The total diameter of this plant is probably about 30 feet. Next year, I'm thinking on the pumpkins, we'll probably put these in a more wild area, something that doesn't need a designated garden area, and we can save this area more for a smaller plant. So a lot of these sunflowers are almost a foot wide. They're not quite ready to harvest. They're still kind of drying out, but you can see the seeds in there. This is a variety called the mammoth sunflower. This head is actually kind of small compared to this other one. Check this one out. All right, so here's a sunflower. I'm actually going to cut it right now. Cut it down and harvest it. Show you guys. This one's a big one. This is the biggest one that we have. Caspian grew this one. You can see there's some mold in there. One of the reasons I cut it out was because not only it's ready, but to take it to a place where it can dry out. One plan that I have with these sunflowers is to use this as a supplement to the chicken feed. So this is David's area right here. It starts right after these sunflowers. And now that they've died back, these tomato plants are starting to produce. They tried to get away. They spread out. You see where they have a bunch of growth, the area where there's no growth. And that's where the squash was covering them, but they pushed out, and then there's a bunch of green tomatoes in there. So those are still kicking. This is lemongrass right here. It smells wonderful. If you don't have any growing, it's almost worth growing just to smell it. Kind of just revitalizes you, wakes you up a little bit. There's essential oils that they make out of lemongrass. It has a lot of herbal uses. So this is a perennial, so this will be here next year. So this area starts Victoria's area right here with this marigold. This is a big old clump. I believe there's 2 plants there. One of the biggest marigolds that I've seen. Back when we were in Arizona, we could never get marigolds to get much bigger than that. But these things, man, these are doing great. There was melons right in here. You can kind of see some of the dried out melon. The sweet potatoes, that's what these are. These leaves that look kind of spaded. Those sweet potatoes were planted right along that trellis. The idea was trying to get them to go a little more vertical. And they have in some places, but they're starting to come over in this area. But we're allowing them to do that. We're not worried about that fact that they're coming over into here because everything that's in there has already run its cycle. And we don't plan on planting anything back in there before the end of the year. Okay, so this corn right here, when the kids were planting their garden area, we had a bag of corn that was in that seed mix, and it was some popcorn that we had got from Whole Foods in Louisville. And we just bought it and made sure that it was non-GMO, you know, organic corn, so that it stays the same. Some of it actually spilled. I'd say about 3 or 4 weeks later, we came out here and it looked like there was a patch of grass right here. So then we figured out, oh yeah, that's where we dropped all that popcorn. So then we decided, this is actually in the walkway, but we decided let's go ahead and leave it and we'll see what happens with it. So this kind of became the kids' little patch of popcorn. We pulled off some cobs, and this is the popcorn. A lot of it's colored. This is like a maroon colored popcorn. So we'll dry this out and then we'll try popping it and see what happens with it. Okay, so this is the second half of Victoria's area. This area had a bunch of melons, and you can actually see the watermelon over into here. And we got about 4 really good watermelons. We'll post a video of cutting those up and eating those. We still have a couple of those in the fridge right now. But they turned out to be really good melons. She did also plant a honeydew, which is this guy right here. For whatever reason, it didn't do real good. There's another one down there. And then she also planted some Tommy apples. We got about 6 really good Tommy apple melons. We'll definitely be planting those and using those again. We saved seed from those. So Victoria really wanted to do melons, and she got a good crop of melons. She also put in an intentional popcorn here. I just looked under the husk. It's still immature. It's still growing, that one. So we'll let that go for a little while longer. There's another batch of her marigolds, and they've actually laid down over in there. That ends out Victoria's area. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see these types of updates. If you enjoyed the content that you saw in the video, hit that like button. That really helps us out. That tells YouTube that other people may like the content that you just saw. And thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.